Okay, good evening. We're going to open up the meeting with a moment of silent meditation and prayer, and followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, before we start, I have our attorney, Ken, it's Farrell, right? Farris, okay, I know you're close to Ken Farris, it's very close. Ken Farris, who's here for Mr. Pizzo's firm tonight. We usually have Mr. Pizzo. Ken, want to explain that we had an executive session, that's why we're running.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, let the minutes of the meeting reflect that council held an executive session to discuss matters of potential litigation commencing at 6 p.m. and concluding at approximately 7:02 p.m.
Okay. Yeah, who was in attendance?
Mr. Knowles, Ms. Benitez, and Ms. Champion in attendance.
And the mayor.
And the mayor. I apologize. And myself, yes, of course.
Okay. I think Ken was also there. Ken Farrell, our Arizona guy. Okay. Practically announced them already, but we have Ms. Benitez here. We have Joe Polari, Councilman Polari, Councilman Champion, the mayor, and myself. Okay, and we have Debbie, our secretary, here this evening. Okay, so the first thing we have on our agenda is our Officer of the Year presentation, and we have Chief McVeigh to make a presentation for our Officer of the Year.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you, Council. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, all Bensalem police officers, my command staff, our deputy directors here with me. It's great to have everyone out here tonight for this presentation. This is a very difficult choice that our command staff and our supervisors make annually. A lot goes into it, and we evaluate what the officers do every single day, but also the jobs they have of significance that really keep Bensalem safer, make us proud as police officers. So it's a selection process where we had a unanimous decision this year. And I'd like to call up, before I read the presentation, Officer Christian Martinka. His brother's Tom down the end. There's two of them here, sorry. And one's plainclothes, one's uniform. I apologize. Maybe next year. But Officer Christian Martinka with his Sergeant Dana Rigo and Lieutenant James McGinty. And I'm going to read the citation. We lost some police officers here. They had to run out to a priority call, as always. They were here, so some people had to leave. But as I read this, this is very remarkable. Over the course of 2024, Officer Christian Martinka proved to be an invaluable member of our police department. On a daily basis, Christian provided stability and proactivity to his squad. His proactive approach to police work led to seizure of numerous firearms, felons, countless narcotics, and multiple stolen vehicles recovered last year. Throughout 2024, Officer Christian Martinka conducted 416 traffic stops, made 74 criminal arrests, and documented over 800 incident reports. He has maintained an exceptional level of performance in all of his duties. Officer Martinka always leads by example when around other officers and has become an informal leader within the department. This is why he was also selected as field training officer last year. In addition to his patrol duties, Officer Martinka is also a volunteer for the police athletic league throughout the year. He serves as a coach and he mentors our youth in the community and recently won the Junior Boys Basketball Championship, where I saw him in full uniform coaching in 90-degree heat. Remarkably, Officer Martinka received 7 official police commendations last year. These included Officer of the Quarter, a unit citation, and 5 separate awards for recovering illegally possessed handguns off the streets of Bensalem. And they were all recovered proactively on car stops that he had made. There's no way to measure the amount of violence and gun crime he's prevented by his actions. Officer Martinka, due to your dedication, work ethic, intelligent police services, and brilliant execution of police skills, you are hereby awarded the Bensalem Township Police Officer of the Year for 2024. Congratulations. Now, Mayor, Council, if you want to come up to present your citation to Officer Christian Martinka. And the kids are very well behaved, I give you credit. Good job.
Hey, take that.
Congratulations, officer. I swore you not too many years ago. It's not that long. You're doing a great job. You know, you're working with the best police force of all internationally. You know that, right? At this point. Yes. And myself and council have a presentation to take the Officer of the Year 2024, Officer Christian Martika, Protect with Honor and Serve with Pride. That's in all of our trucks and all of our cars that you guys drive. And in recognition of the work and dedication you have shown the department and our community, we thank you so much, and God bless you and all of our officers here tonight. What a team. What a team, guys. Thank you for everything you do in our community, everyone here. God bless you.
Yeah. Email to you? Yeah, that's great. Okay, no problem. Yeah. And before we leave, I would just like to thank you, Mayor, thank the council for all your support. We're truly blessed here to have the support we have, 100% backing, and that allows us to do the job that we have to do. So it is, like the mayor said, a great team effort, and thank you for always supporting our police and first responders.
Thank you, Mr. McVeigh. You've done a great job, and you did a nice job picking somebody only 2 years here and the job he's doing for us. You did a nice job on the selection.
Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you for letting us have your.
Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
You know what? You guys are all special. You guys are all.
did a great job.
Families are just as important too.
Okay, I just want to give a second to, yeah. Okay, it's unbelievable that our officer of the year was only 2 years on the job. Quite a job he's done. Okay, next on the agenda is number 5, approval of council minutes from March 10th. Okay, does anybody have any? Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. Yeah, we have to do, number 3 is the public comment for agenda items only. You will have an opportunity when the individual agenda item comes up to speak on it if you're here for a particular agenda item. So if you don't come forward, we'll close that public comment for agenda items. And there's general public comment at the end of the meeting. Okay? Thank you. Okay, so next on the agenda is number 5, approval of council minutes for the meeting date March 10th, 2025. Does anybody have any changes they would like Debbie to make? Anybody see any errors? I didn't notice anything, so. Okay, so seeing no errors being mentioned or no changes, does someone make a motion, we accept the minutes?
Make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
A second to approve? Okay, so we have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any against? Okay, so we're good 4-0. Okay, I did mention that Councilman Kisselback, I forgot to mention, was a little under the weather, so he was unable to make tonight's meeting. And also, I wanted to mention that Phil Worst is our engineer. I forgot to introduce Phil. I don't want you to feel slighted. Okay, and then Mr. Kisselback won't hear, so the vote will be 4-0. Okay, number 6 on the agenda. Number 6 on the agenda is 850 Highland Avenue, Bristol Pike, and 863 Bristol Pike and 850 Highland Avenue. And this is for a lot line change. We have Mr. McGinnis.
Good evening, Mike Dennis from Begley Carlin here tonight. On behalf of the applicant, 850 Highland LLC, I have Jim Oakes with me from Tri-State, and he's going to pull up the plan we're here to discuss. I also have in the audience, if needed, Mike Paparone from ServPro as well. As is indicated, this is a lot line change relating to 3 parcels, which are operated presently by 850 Highland LLC. They total in the aggregate just under 1.5 acres. It's 1.47 acres, I think, to be exact. Jim's was pulling up the aerial. This is the home of one of the homes of the former Andalusia Supply property in township. And then on the other end, 2 of the parcels are improved by residential dwellings. Jim, if you can just scroll down. Yeah, that's fine right now. So the current condition, I'll talk through it. The current condition is a bit of a mess. There are 3 parcels. They bear absolutely no resemblance to the existing improvements on the site. So we are not proposing any development with the application. We're not creating any additional lots. What we're doing, hopefully, is to correct longstanding issues with this property. So right now, if you were on Highland Avenue looking into the parcel, you would see a property, again, that you probably have known historically as the former Andalusia Supply site. That is improved by a large industrial building, and then as you go deeper into the site plan, you have 2 detached residential structures. The property lines bear absolutely no semblance to what I just described. There are 3 parcels. They have multiple uses on each of the properties. And what we're attempting to do this evening is to correct the situation so that at the end of the day, you have 3 parcels and they each resemble use. So you would end up with a property that the industrial property, the Andalusia Supply property, which is now occupied by ServPro, will be its own parcel. Each of the 2 residential structures will be on their own parcel as well. So instead of the current situation where you have 2 uses on one parcel, you have a parcel to the planned southeast, which has nothing on it at all, and then you have an elongated parcel as well behind it. We would end up with what looks like something that resembles common sense planning. So I pitched this, we went to the zone hearing board in October, and I'll reiterate it to you this evening. We're here to rectify, I think, a long-standing issue without modifying any of the uses or creating any additional lots. We submitted the lot line change application. I apologize that we're currently having technical issues with the plan. It would be a lot easier for you to visualize it if we could get it on the screen. But we submitted the lot line change application, and the result of the lot line change application was a letter that was supplied by Mr. Worst's team that had 0 subdivision land development comments. The zoning comments have all been addressed and are compliant. So unlike the typical matter when I come before you and we volunteer to go through the township review letters, we truly have nothing to go through on the review letters this evening. Everything has been complied with, and there are no outstanding items with the subdivision and development ordinance. We're hoping again just to procure an approval to correct the situation so that the 3 buildings that are on these properties will remain on these properties on their own lots after approved. This is going to stay up now, hopefully. Okay. So I'm not sure why it keeps closing.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna go Google.
I know, but I don't think. A couple questions. I'm seeing it on my map, which is easier to see. Okay, so that is, the top of that's Bristol Pike, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so the 2 structures that are on Bristol Pike, okay?
Yep.
Are they zoned what now?
It's all GC,
That's all GC?
correct.
And then which one is residential?
Well, the two properties on Bristol Pike are both residential. The property that is closer to Highland Avenue is the commercial property that's occupied by Servpro.
Okay, and you're saying you want to separate them so they all have their own zoning, but it looks like one big lot?
No. So if you look, and fortunately the plan is staying up right now. If you look on the left portion of the plan, you can see the existing conditions on the site. So there is a small, what looks like little rectangular parcel. If I'm positioning you standing on Highland Avenue, looking into the property.
On that corner.
Right now, the very first thing that you see is this little rectangular property right in front of you, which has
Okay.
absolutely nothing on it other than pavement.
And that's zoned
That-
residential now?
No, it's zoned commercial, but
It's
it's
commercial.
its own thing. There are no improvements there
Okay,
other
go
than
ahead.
paving. Then you have, to the left, you have the building, which was previously occupied by Andrew Supply and which is currently occupied by Servpro. That is on a parcel, but it extends all the way out to Bristol, where there is another structure on
Right,
it,
right.
which had nothing to do with the commercial business that's in that building, but it's on one property. Then you have an elongated rectangular parcel, which also has a portion of the parking field that's being utilized by Servpro and the residential structure which fronts on Bristol Pike as well. So you have three parcels. One has no structures on it. One has two structures on it, one of which is a business and one of which isn't. And you have an elongated parcel, which is improved by the parking lot in part of the Servpro building and has a dwelling which fronts Bristol Pike. What we're looking to do this evening is depicted on the lot line change plan on the right, if you're looking at the screen.
Okay.
And the result of that, if it's approved, would have one larger property, which is around an acre, which would just be for the Servpro building. And then you eliminate visually the weird little parcel that is on the plan southeast, so you don't see that anymore. And then you would have two parcels fronting on Bristol Pike, which just have the two separate structures. So the end result of this would be three parcels with three buildings on each. And the parking lot that was utilized for Andrew Supply and is utilized by Servpro now will be all contained on one property instead of spilling into three separate properties.
Okay, right now, who owns Servpro's property? Servpro?
850 is the same owner right now.
Same owner for all?
Same owner for all three
That's what I'm
parcels
saying, for
presently.
all three.
Yes,
Okay, now, would they then be able to sell off the run properties?
correct,
Okay,
yes.
and then they would be zoned, either grandfathered in for some residential or general commercial because they're on Bristol Pike?
The property that would be sold under the scenario to Servpro is an ongoing use that is permitted and would remain moving forward.
What about the houses on Bristol Pike?
Right, those are existing non-conforming uses which would continue
Right.
regardless of what happens with the lot line change.
Right.
The uses which are occurring are going to remain there,
Okay,
The current uses are residential.
correct?
And how many units? Are they single-family or they're multi-unit residents?
I believe they are both, you know, the house I think on the left is absolutely single family. I believe the property on the right is, but I'm not 100%, I have to confirm that.
I ask because then parking and the space and how much are we putting into that, if there's a need, I'm not particularly sure about that.
well, I think they would have plenty of parking still, because.
We're not
still-
modifying the
still pretty big
parking.
lot.
We're not touching the properties in any way. So the existing condition, if you drive by today and you drive by in a week, it's the exact same situation. Nobody who is
How's it
residing in the
used?
structures is parking on the commercial property to the rear.
So let me get this straight. What you're doing is going to clean up this property. It's going to end all the problems we've had for the last 15 or 20 years and still make it usable, but it's something that's going to make it easier for the township to handle and the township to keep control of and make sure we don't have another Andalusia Supply, whatever. So it's a positive.
Yeah, we were in front of the zoning hearing board and were denied a few years ago because my client was leasing the commercial property to Riggs Distler, and they were running an operation, repairing Pico lines and the like. And the township's determination with that use was that that was not conforming with GC district.
Right.
And I know this property, to Mr. Leary's point, has historically had some issues on the township's end. So my client has, for many months, leased the property to Servpro, with, and Mr. Paparone can say, the intent is for, after this to go through, for Mr. Paparone to purchase the property. It's a great business that he has in Bensalem. He wants to stay at the site. He's been successful enough to move from leasing to purchasing his own property, and wants to be here for the next however many years.
And he's not filling up Island Avenue with tractor trailers.
Correct.
Oh, we'd have that problem there,
And that was
but yes.
before.
No, that's there again. There's somebody parking behind, but it's a different property.
What do you expect?
I want to ask him a question because you actually brought up the point about rigs. This property in the back, and I'm very thankful that, Surf Pro wants to buy it and maintain a great business atmosphere here. In the future, though, could we potentially have another rigs type of in there? Is there something that would reduce the ability to have rigs?
It's not owned that.
It's not, so the general commercial
Yeah, the
would never do.
township's determination was that the Riggs distiller operation was not permitted in the GZ district.
Okay, just to be sure that we have
Correct.
that.
And I think I would
I thought that's what you said. I
respectfully-
wanted to confirm it.
Yeah, so I would suggest as well that that Mr. Ott, who owns 850 Highland LLC, he's not occupied, if Surf Pro didn't exist, this was never going to be an owner-occupied situation with 850 Highland, so he would be out there looking for tenants to come in and occupy the building.
Yeah.
By having the lot line change go through, which would allow the conveyance to Surf Pro, you eliminate that option for the very distant future, because Surf Pro's, Mr. Paparone's not buying this property with the intent to vacate it a year from now. So there's certainty attached with the lot line change. No way it wouldn't exist if it didn't occur.
Okay, do you have questions about the other thing you asked me about the vacated lot?
Oh, yeah, when I looked on Google for the address, it had First Street there, called Municipal Avenue.
Is it still there? Oh, hold on one second, okay?
Wait.
Hold on one second, now, 1 second. We can introduce you if you want to come up. Do you know, are you aware of a paper sheet, or is that just a?
It's just,
simple
I mean,
one?
it's just Google,
Just Google?
just Google. Okay, it was just weird.
Okay,
I never
so-
noticed it before, so I really paid attention when I looked it up.
Okay, is that, you want to call that gentleman up?
He's
Is he
not.
with you?
No.
Okay, then we'll hold on 1 second, okay? We'll have comment in a second.
Yeah, the last thing I'll say is we're aware, it's been made abundantly clear over my multiple appearances at the zoning hearing board on this property that, there are residential homes. Any use that is going into this property is going to have to navigate the fact that it is immediately abutting residential properties and it's its own general commercial. And I think one of the concerns that existed with Riggs Distler was the size of the truck that were there. Their boom trucks were large, they went over the fence. The hours of operation were problematic, and obviously we're not necessarily here to discuss the use, but one of the things that was more, I think, appetizing to my client and appealing, I know to Mr. Paparone, who's here, is that particular commercial use and the nature of the vehicles and other things is a better fit. Understand that probably nothing that's going to go in there will ever be entirely in keeping with the residential uses. It's certainly I would suggest, a more palatable use than many of the historic uses that have been at this property. So we were excited about Surf Pro and Mike's interest in it, and we think this will, again, finally give the township some certainty regarding what this property is going to be over the next 10, 15 years.
Yeah, I agree that it's cleaning things up, and like Mr. Polari said, it makes it easier on everybody to feed. Before, we had less control of that entire property, and it got out of hand a little bit.
Yeah, it's just makes no sense the way parcels are created. They bear no resemblance of what is actually.
Okay, do you have
occurring.
anybody else that you want to bring up?
I
for
don't.
your
I
side?
have Jim Oakes with Tri-State with me if you have any engineering questions.
No, I just have one more comment. So while I know we cannot, definitively say that Surf Pro will be purchasing it, you never can say, yes, that the plan is, but I hope that the future owner, if it's potentially Surf Pro, that they do a little bit more cleanup in the property and make it, when it's your own, right, you take more pride. Not that Mr. Ott doesn't have pride in it, but I, just want to, hopefully, when you drive by down Highland, because there are some other areas on Highland as you go through to the neighborhood, it would be great.
Okay, let's let this gentleman who wants to go up and comment. Okay, is anybody from here that would like to speak or against this application for lot line change?
You want me to introduce myself?
You introduce yourself, yes.
Hi, my name is David. I'm one of the owner that owns 847 Bristol Pike, which is the last property that next to the building that was going to divide.
On Bristol Pike?
Yes.
Okay.
We're trying to, I know they're trying to separate their unit, right? We always have an issue of accessing the back. Actually, when I purchased the property, you see the small piece of land back there, the long strip?
Are you on the left or the right?
Left, if you say that. Look, before, there's a road that usually come in from the Bristol Pike that we can access to the back,
To Highland Avenue?
off Bristol, yes.
To Highland Avenue. when you say
No,
off
no,
the back?
to the back of the property.
I know, to
You see
Highland
the,
Avenue?
see the alarm strip line, the lamp in the back?
I know, listen, you have Highland Avenue across the back.
Yes.
You go to the aerial, I think easier to show.
Okay, but the problem is, I think that piece of ground was not, it may have been you could have gotten away with going to Highland Avenue by that way, but I don't think that was part of your ground. You were going over someone else's property.
Yes, right now the issue, right, when we bought property, we really want to, because there's a piece of land that, right next to the property, that we want to maintain. Actually, before it's like overgrown, we bought the property, we actually pay a lot of people trying to like mold it, try to keep their, like, property nice. But right now, I don't know what's gonna happen when the new property line is gonna be withdrawn, and then what's gonna have, do we have access to the back? Because there's no way,
Well, if you own from Bristol Pike back to Highland Avenue,
just that piece of land,
okay, a piece of land on Bristol Pike, right?
What's
No,
your
not
address
him,
again?
him. I'm talking about him.
847 Bristol.
Okay. If you have a house on Bristol Pike, if you have a property on Bristol Pike that you use as a business, do you have a garage behind it?
No, there's no garage, behind there or
Okay,
wherever.
is it residential for you to use it as a
No,
business?
it's GC, it's GC zoning.
GC, okay, so it's GC on Bristol Pike, okay? So if you were accessing to Highland Avenue, know where Highland Avenue is, behind the property? When you say behind, that's where you would, when you go behind, you go to Highland Avenue, there's nowhere else to go,
There's no access from there, we go from Bristol Pike.
He's saying, he's right here.
right?
He's saying he can't get to the backyard except through here. This is his property right here. That's 847. There's no drive
So-
to the back.
Okay,
So
so this is his
No,
property?
this is his property, this house here. So this is
I mean,
Andalusia
I
Supply.
checked, there's no easement.
This is it's a small one-story.
I know, but, yeah, but
Do we have a filter thing?
I kind of understand what you're saying, but you were using access that was owned by somebody else.
I know when we bought it, just like a small way before, it's like they had access, but we were able to get from Bristol Pike to the back of access. That's what we're trying to get.
There's a three-foot easement that's on
Okay,
the property, between the two properties.
well, right now, I didn't see anything, and then they're not letting us to use any access. If, I don't know whatever they're trying to prove, I just want to make sure, I do want to keep the property nice and clean. Wherever your plan that got approved, we don't have access, and that piece of land in the back of my property,
Does he-
it's gonna be wasteful, and there's no improvement. I do want to make the township, like the property look nice and stuff like that. If you don't have access to the back, then I don't know, in the future, that might be an issue for
Okay.
us.
Is there a way to set up access for him to get to that property?
There's an existing easement right there.
There's an easement there again.
Yeah, Jim, highlight it.
Right here,
Where's the
He
easement?
does have the access to get to the back of the property.
between these two buildings, right here.
Yeah, that strip.
There is, you can check,
Maybe it's,
you can check, there's no access.
that is right here. So the simplest answer, and we can discuss, my client's going to continue ownership of these properties, so I'm happy to discuss with you afterwards. We're not modifying, and maybe this is the easiest thing for council this evening, the Plan West property boundary is not changing. So we're not moving this left or right. This is the exact same property boundary between your property now as it will be next week. All we're doing is this before with one elongated property, and we are creating a property line
No,
here.
I understand. The thing just that, the easement 3 feet, you don't have any access, no vehicle can go in back. And then it's harder for us to maintain the back of the portion, like the piece of land.
How wide is the easement between the houses? I'll exchange though, because if you were going around the other
Yeah,
if you were going around the other building, okay, and we're letting you go through that way, well, how are we getting back there?
that's why we're not using it.
How are we getting to the back?
We're not using the back of the land.
Well, how are we getting back there to maintain it now?
Somebody would have to go walk through and mow it.
Walk through, why can't you walk through now and do it?
Because if we're trying to keep our property nice, and then that piece of land, you don't want to waste it, because that's a small strip of land that on
I
there.
understand, but no one's changing the width of your land, okay? The exact width of your land is exactly the same. So however you're getting back there on your property
Before,
now,
before this, like Cedar Avenue, there's more road under.
Where was the road? Where was the road?
Right between it, this,
road?
property line.
I think it's an alley.
it's not a road.
It's not a road. I don't. It's an alley? Seems like, yeah.
Just a huge like road before they have a drive-through, before they apply on it. And then
Those houses have been there.
Between the two houses, I think
Yeah.
he's talking about.
between the two houses.
Access
Yeah, between the houses though?
Yeah, we always
Okay,
go
wait,
through
is
from
that
there.
is that the easement?
Not here?
Not here.
You're
There's
saying-
no way you can go through right there, trust me. Just,
But if he's not changing the property line, does he have an easement to go through there still?
no, I don't see any easement.
I don't think so. I mean, look, what I can say, I'm happy if you give me information, I'm happy to talk with you after the meeting
No,
and
no,
talk with my client about it.
I
But
just want to point out wherever this councilman decide, you do want to maintain the back of the alley, wherever your decision tonight, that is going to affect us in the future.
Well, it's not, the property line now, we're not changing the property line between the houses. So we're not changing anything there now. I know what he's talking about is street, but there's,
Is it more like a driveway?
it's like a driveway. Well, it'll still be there now.
Mr. McGinnis?
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense for everybody to work together. You don't want to overgrown piece of property. It makes it look better. You guys can come up with an agreement with the gentleman so you can get back to the back property.
Right, no, I agree, and
Yeah, we're gonna do it.
I would suggest that that's a private matter anyway, that we're more than happy to discuss with the gentleman after the meeting.
Let your client know that that's what the township, let the township know, let him know that's what the township would like him to keep everything looking nice. He's not asking for every use of property to get back there and clean up property. So it makes sense for you guys to work and your client to work together with him.
No, I agree.
Okay, like Mr. Polari just said, if the lot line between the houses is not changing, okay? So Mr. McGinnis says that he will have discussions with you, giving you permission to, maybe, could you do an easement for him to get back there? Like,
Yeah, I can talk with I don't want to, I can commit that I'm more than happy to have a conversation with my client and facilitate that dialogue between the property owners. As Mr. Polari noted correctly, there's a natural incentive to make sure that the adjoining properties are being maintained correctly. If people are living in there, they want to make sure they're living next to properties that are kept well, so I think there's a lot of common sense to it.
Yeah, because, and the lot line change tonight does not affect in between the buildings. So your right to go back there was always either you had it or you didn't before. Now, just because they were letting you before and they might let you now, I don't know.
Since
They're gonna try
after
to
they
let you.
paved their area, we don't really have any access on it. And then before, like, I already hired, like a couple years back, I hired somebody because that back of land is overgrowth. So we actually hired a landscaper, try to mow that down area. But now
Right.
we don't have access through it.
Well, you're gonna have access, you're gonna have the same access you had before.
And they're saying that they're going to work together with you to make this happen. So
No, I
we can
understand.
beat
So
this
that's
all
why I want to
all
make
night
sure I
long.
point it out.
Yeah.
So wherever it is.
But we're not changing the line between the houses, so it shouldn't change your situation geographically.
So my concern, just that once this like privatized, wherever the line, is that going to be up to their new owner decide that I can have access to the back of my
Well,
property
you
or
said,
not?
again, the lot line changes behind your house.
Mr. McGinnis, is this more of a deed type of thing that's outside of
Yeah, I
council's
mean,
purview?
I think it's a private matter, it's a title conversation.
Where's it go around the other?
This building, which is theirs,
I know, but
You're still not on.
he never had
You're
a
still
legal
not
right
on.
to do that.
to get to the back.
But he never had a legal right to do that. They're willing to work with him.
There you go.
There we go.
And once you go around the building, you're
Well,
on
Mr.
someone else's
Mr.
property.
Ferris is
Well,
going to answer us.
In answer to Ms. Champion's question, I don't think council has the power to grant anybody property rights in another property. We're here to discuss the lot line change and make a deliberation and
But
a
I
decision
know-
as to that.
And one more thing, and the lot line change, I know we've said it a few times, the lot line change we're doing here to the north and to the south is not changing. It is staying exactly the same. Basically, we're doing the east-west.
Right.
Correct.
The north-south is changing, east-west is not. So his lot is still the same size as it was. Any easements or access have to be discussed between
Right.
himself and/or his attorney and the other property owner's attorney, that we cannot be part of that because
Correct.
that
They-
is not something council facilitates.
They either already exist or they will be negotiated between the property owners.
My question to the council is just that, is that previous, just a road, is that a road there previously?
No,
Or that's never been a
No.
road?
no.
You were riding over someone's property.
Mr. McGinnis, will your client work together with Mr. Farrell
Absolutely.
and try and make this happen so the guy has the ability to go back and clean up the lot? He's not building on it, it's gonna be nicer for everybody else, it's gonna work out.
So-
I don't know why we keep beating this.
Yeah,
When we already have an agreement that he's gonna talk to his client, get his client to work together. Mr. Farrell can handle that from the building and planning department, and you guys work it all out and make it happen so this gentleman can get back there. It's a win-win for everybody to clean up this site.
No, I
It's
just
been a
want
nightmare
to
forever.
voice out my opinion,
Okay.
so that way in the
No.
future, we don't have any, issue that have assets to maintain the property. I understand sometimes we overgrow, over years. stuff like
Okay,
that, so
well,
that's-
hopefully, you'll be able to get back there still. It's just a matter of how easy it's gonna be.
Ken, will you work on that with
He's
him,
gonna work with
please? Thank you.
Work with you to get you an easement to get back
He's
there.
the director of building planning, he'll work together with you also.
Okay, is there anybody else that would like to speak for or against the, I know.
Good evening. I'm Lawrence Grace. I own 918 Tennis Avenue
Right.
on the plan. This is for the final complete. There's no upholding of codes and things like that.
What do you, first of all, you can talk to me, okay?
Okay.
If you have, okay. I don't know what that means, but we're doing a lot line change, and we're
Okay.
not changing any zoning.
Okay.
So there's nothing, there's no approval.
My property resides on a district boundary line. And in the mid-2000s, they concreted over the whole property without any permits and no stormwater management or anything.
Okay, well,
Just to be clear, the day is not my client.
Now,
yeah, I understand that.
I've known about it since 2010.
And we went to bat for you, okay, when the other business was back there with the tractor trailer.
Right.
And we got them out of there for you, and we made the situation a lot better for your situation on 10th Avenue.
well, in 2010, we notified the township and
Allow me to make the point, Mr. Grace, I just want to say, the public comment is about the agenda item, not about what may have happened in the past.
no, I
You can-
understand that.
Okay.
I guess my point is, if I have a district boundary line, it's subject to a 75-foot buffer yard. How is that with all this?
Well, all we're doing
Part
is
of the-
changing a property line. We're not doing that. So that whatever
Okay,
happens. So
so my understanding is that I thought when it did that, it went to the planning commission.
all we're doing is correcting the property line and having their own property line. We're not changing the zoning or the requirements of the zoning.
Okay.
So-
Well,
No, just-
what was once a backyard?
What's that?
What was once a backyard
Who's back there?
at 863 was a antique store and a rear yard, and was bought in religious supply and then concreted over.
That what year?
That was the mid-2000s.
And
then 2010
I don't think so, okay.
Was.
Okay, well, I grew up in Tennis Avenue too, so,
Well, you can
and the Staples.
pull a
lived in-
satellite photo
You lived-
and
you
you'll
bought
see
the-
'em doing it.
You bought the Staples house, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so I hung around with the Staples. I've been in their
Okay,
house.
I'm not here to lie.
Okay, so.
I'm telling you what.
All right, well, we don't need a whole story. The story of the history of the property doesn't matter. We're only
Okay.
changing a property line.
Well, shouldn't there be a buffer yard there?
No,
I mean, no?
no. It's already established. That line's already established. We're not discussing that line. We're discussing in between the two properties behind.
So the written code that says there should be a buffer yard there isn't part of this.
No, it's not part of this tonight, no.
Okay, how does it become part of that?
I don't know. I don't know. You'll have to inquire with it, Ken Farrell during the day, or.
Well, just inquire.
Okay. well,
Mr. Grace,
it's nothing to
do you, can you express an opinion as to the matter for
Are you
consideration
against
before
this because
council?
it doesn't provide a new buffer line?
I'd be against it because a lot of land alterations have taken place and I still feel my property is unprotected. by
Well, do you think
allowing-
do you think the use now, after we went through and lose the supplies violations and things were going on with
Right, it's every
tractors,
business.
that you were here, okay, do you think it's better now than it was before when you were up here before?
Oh, it's better now.
Way better, right?
Don't- I'm still going to be,
Remember you put,
I'm
remember,
worried about what happens on the line. This property changes hands.
but the previous owner did not meet the requirements of that zoning, that's how we got them out there. So
Right.
any future owner is going to have to meet the requirements of just a general commercial zoning.
Well, I'm, so when you change a property line, it's not like starting from the beginning?
No,
No, okay.
there's an existing
Well, then-
structure. They're not changing the existing structure. Now,
Right.
expanded the existing structure sideways, or they wanted to come closer to your property or something like that?
I mean, it's a concern, because the house right below there, they want to build a house right in the line of all that water that's going to come down there with no stormwater management.
Well, they built across the street, you mean?
Right on Highland Avenue. right?
Yeah, across. Nothing to-
Didn't they go for a house?
No,
So they didn't go to the zoning board?
no, we haven't done any work with it.
I'm talking about right across the street from that, on Highland Avenue.
That's a separate property. That's
I
a
believe you
separate,
represented the person.
I didn't.
but that's a separate property, and when that person comes in front of us, they're gonna have to do stormwater management of the new house.
I guess what I'm saying in my head is the Andrews place, the code doesn't exist if the codes weren't active.
Okay, so you're against the zoning, the lot line
Right.
change. Okay, we appreciate you coming out, right? Thank you. Okay, is there anybody else that would want to speak for or against the property? Okay, with not any questions, does anybody from council have any additional questions in reference to the lot line
One
change?
of, Mr. DeGrace, was it? Mr. Grace. I think I just want to be clear that if there's an existing non-conforming, that is not what we're discussing today. And I understand what your concerns, I hear you. I don't want you to feel like you're not being heard, but what we're doing today is specific to what already exists and just changing the lines within the box. We can't change anything else during this process. It's one step. I hear what you're saying, though, and these are things that happened years ago that we can't at this time change with this request. So I thank you for coming out, and I just want to make sure you understand that we hear you.
Okay, do you have any questions for Mr. McGinnis, or Michelle, you have any other questions for Mr. McGinnis or anything? Okay, all right, if there's not any other questions, does someone want to put a motion forward to, in reference to the lot line change for 850 Highland Avenue LLC, 863 Bristol Pike, and 850 Highland Avenue?
I'll put a motion in for 850 Highland Avenue, or 850 Highland LLC, tax parcels 02029-279, 02029-084, and 02029-278 for a lot line change.
Okay, as presented?
As
Okay.
presented.
Okay, is there, are we okay with that, or do you have anything else added to that motion? Okay.
Can I add a comment to that?
Yeah, go
Yes,
ahead.
please.
That Mr. McGinnis and their client were to work together with the neighbor next door for the property behind so they can get back there to clean it.
Provide access to the property. So you want to amend your motion?
I will amend my motion to include the fact that Mr. McGinnis and I apologize, I do not remember your, and Ken will, the owner of 847 Bristol Pike, will work together to find some sort of easement access to the back of their property.
Okay, no, we're done public comment. No. Well, it doesn't matter. We're done public comment. Okay, so is there, we have a motion on the floor, and there's a second, Joe?
Second, yeah.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any against? No. Okay, so it passes 4-0.
Thank you, have a good night.
Thank you. Welcome to come up at the end, do public comment if you'd like to make more public comments. At the end of the meeting.
And I drive that way sometimes, so it'll be good to see.
It's very nice.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, we have, next on the agenda.
I was talking to Ken.
Okay. I was still doing it. Okay, next on the agenda, we have number 7, Creative Construction and Design Incorporated, 2866 Wine Avenue, Civil County Residential, R2 Residential District. And he's asking for a minor subdivision or consideration of a minor subdivision. Anybody representing? Are you representing the applicant, or are you the applicant, or?
Yeah, my name's Larry Byrne. I'm the engineer that prepared the plan.
Okay.
And here's the applicant, Jason Kerper of Creative Construction.
Okay.
See if I can figure this out.
Did you look at this?
Anything over there is going to be a problem.
Yeah, he left like a fly.
Where we at here?
It's not an entrance, but he left a slice in the back.
So technically,
I thought you said bring a paperboard too, because we have a technical glitch. It's like, if you close it up, close the whole thing out, you reopen it.
Oops, I'm sorry. I thought I had you. Ashma.
Close it. It's heat. It's not. This should be sheet 1, and it's not working. Okay. It's not, no, it's doing that. Okay. All right, well, good evening, my name is Larry. Speak from the. Yeah. Okay, all right, I will, but for right now, I'd say introduce myself again. My name is Larry Byrne, I'm the engineer that prepared the plan. With me is Jason Kerber, the owner of Creative Construction. We seem to have a technical glitch with the plan. Won't fully, you're looking there, it won't fully, display on up here, but this is a subdivision plan. You know, maybe I'll point this. This is the plan that's right here in front of you. This is a proposal for a minor subdivision of 2866 Wine Avenue. It's in the general vicinity of Nice Road and Street Road. This Virginia Avenue here it's a block off of Street Road. And what the proposal was for, there was an existing dwelling on the property previously that was demolished, and the applicant had obtained a building permit from the township to construct this house here, which is basically already built. And then after thinking about it a little bit more, decided to, we realized he had some potential to subdivide the property into a second lot here, which would be lot 2. This is lot 1. So that's what we're here this evening for, is to obtain the.
Where was the existing?
The existing house was right here, kind of straddled it.
Center, right?
Right in the center, yes. And it had a garage over here and
Right.
a driveway. So that's where the existing house was. It's already been demolished. And
Okay, the problem with looking at the plan, okay, and I've discussed this with,
Right.
it's not my opinion, but, is there was one single house on the lot.
Correct,
With a
yes.
garage, okay? So he put the first house he came in, he didn't ask for a subdivision.
Correct.
First asked to build one house.
Correct,
He put it to the left of that lot,
correct.
okay? Then he kept a sliver of property on, and added it, or didn't add it, or left it for the corner lot.
Well,
So that sliver of property
This
that
right
goes
here?
back there,
yes,
you're considering that part of the corner's yard. Get 7,500 square feet.
correct. Yeah,
He didn't think of it afterwards, he planned ahead of time.
Well, so I'll make a comment on that. We didn't think about it afterwards. The neighbor that resides in that property is actually using that property. He is over the property line. We didn't realize until the pins were set when we did the division for the first house, that he was actually utilizing more of his property that he didn't own. And that's when we figured out, okay, well, we actually own that. And that's where that could be utilized for another house if that's the case. When I had a discussion with that property owner, they said that they had it surveyed and it was a discrepancy. But the pin was set, I asked them to provide that, they haven't provided it yet. But that's when we realized that that sliver was there and figured, oh, well, since we own that, could we utilize it for a second
Well,
house?
did you get a survey to resolve that dispute?
Well, the survey is the survey. We own that property. He's using it and he doesn't realize that it's not his.
Yeah,
Does
That's what that
he
13
realize it now?
Yeah, we told him the pins are there, so,
well, the
He's
thing
notified
too,
of this meeting?
yes. Yes, he was
yeah,
one.
oh yeah, where's the letters?
Yes,
Yeah.
certified mail, yep.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry about that, I should ask you, can you provide our attorney?
Yeah, sorry, I forgot to give you these are the notifications
Sorry.
to the.
I should have asked.
The
I'm
property,
sorry. That's my
adjacent
fault.
property owners. Yes, well, I guess I agree the property line is, it's kind of irregular, but
Right
it does comply with the zoning in regards to having the minimum frontage here for this lot of 75 feet.
Right.
And then also complies with all the other dimensional criteria for building cover, setbacks, and so forth.
I'm
And
sorry,
then
where
this-
does it comply with the 75 feet?
The first house they built.
Yeah.
Across
So
the front.
the
This
lot-
house here.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
so-
then back here, it
Right.
complies without having this.
So okay.
See,
So,
it-
and then this is 84, so you're saying this is the front of the house
Right.
on Wine Avenue, but you're putting the driveway
No,
on
no.
Virginia?
She's talking about this house.
Yeah, but okay.
Wine Avenue, a corner lot has two fronts.
I know, but which side is the front of the house that you're proposing?
It'll be facing Virginia.
It's going to face Virginia, yes.
And how wide does that have to be, miss, to be conforming?
75.
And that looks like it's 72. Oh, it's 77.
77, yeah.
Because of the,
Yeah, well, see, this, they said, this line here, this is the proposed property line right here. It's set at exactly 75 feet because that's the minimum width
Right.
required by the zoning for R2 zoning district. So that's why that line is there. And then when we have the area that's left over, which is this strip, that complies with the 7,500 square feet. Now, if we didn't have enough area,
You wouldn't have
we
enough area.
wouldn't even be here, you know?
Right, and the only reason you have area is because you left that strip out of the other subdivision
No.
well, you left it out because he's saying so.
No, it's his property, that's
I understand.
part of it.
it was part of that original lot that you subdivided, that you're
Correct.
trying to
Yeah, but we
divide.
didn't realize it was there because the neighbor's using it.
Well,
And when we-
that's, right. Here's the original property line, no, trace it, is this. Goes around. All we're doing is adding one line down the middle to have two conforming lots.
Well, you added the line already, right?
No, we're here tonight for the subdivision.
Didn't you add that line to build the first house?
No, the house that was being built was based on a building permit plan that encompassed the whole site.
So you're coming in second, huh?
Well, we came in for a building permit plan, correct, which was, he built the house, it's under construction.
It's under construction, right?
Yeah, it's basically built, but he needed to, in order to sell the house, we have to have the subdivision so he can build a second house on that one.
Well, it's almost finished, but it's not finished. There's no windows in it, right? No.
Oh, no, it's up. My guys were hanging doors and trim today. So it's sided.
Yeah, well, I
windows
went by
and-
today. There wasn't, I must have been before the guys were hanging the doors.
No, this sided, windows, doors,
Okay.
everything are on, yeah.
So, but so you can't you put that, but the person who buys the house in the corner, okay? You have two front yards that have to be 25 feet off the corners, okay? But then that gives you no backyard. Now, you're not required to have a backyard because it said, so you have no yard between the new line and the new house.
It's like 20 feet,
20 feet.
right here, from the
Okay.
back of this
And
house
that's
to
the back of
here.
the house.
Yeah, there's 20 feet.
Okay, what's on the back of that house? Is there a slider on the back of the house? Is there a door on the back of the house?
I mean, I can propose either or, but typically I put sliders on the back half.
Right, so the person's not gonna be able to put a deck on their house, because you'll be within the setback for the side
Right.
yard.
30 feet.
Yeah, I have a question, please, I'm sorry. What is the side yard setback footage requirement?
The side yards, they're, what is it? I think it's 10 foot, or no, it's a 9-foot minimum with a 20-foot aggregate.
Because, Michelle, I talked to Ken about this, we can bring Ken up, we have to, but I talked to Ken about the specifics of this, and because it's a corner lot, they consider it two front yards, okay, so they're 25 foot, so he has a 25-foot off. But because it's a corner, it also allows him to say, there's really no backyard, otherwise he'd have a
There's
backyard.
two sides is what they consider.
Yeah, they consider two side yards, so he can get away with saying it has to be at least 9 feet, but he can't build a deck on back of the house, and he can't put a patio, because you're gonna go in the building for someone that buys that house, isn't gonna have
There's some,
room to put anywhere.
I like the, I don't know why the image isn't coming up on the computer, but right here, there's room here about
But I have a
9
question,
feet.
looking at page 3 of 5, there's a, is that your stormwater management there? And then you have a dry well up at the front,
There's a,
what is that circle right behind the back on page 3 of 5?
this, for that?
This, here, what is this and what is this?
Oh, That's part of the construction plan for the erosion control. That's the temporary stockpile, topsoil pile, when they're digging the basement. They show that, and that circular thing
Where's
is,
the stormwater management going?
there's a dry well right here.
So the dry well's in an area that the homeowner
That
will
would,
utilize on the front.
right, the dry well is right here, and then the dry well for this lot is in the back here.
Okay, and are they underground basins, or?
Yes,
say
yeah.
drywall? So they're underground basins, you can actually.
Yeah, underground stone pits, the dry wells, yes. Mhm. We did receive the engineers' letters, and I had a Zoom meeting last week with representatives from Phil's office, Nicole and Bill, traffic engineer, and I think we they had some I consider relatively minor comments, and they were basically all will complies. Some drifting issues and a couple other of the traffic comments I talked with Bill about, and he seemed to think we're okay.
On the letter from March 14th, okay, so there's, all these are will complies under subdivision and stormwater management comments?
Yeah, I have the, they're all will complies. The other item that's on the agenda for this project tonight is actually the sewage facilities planning module. That's, comment 2B, and that's pending the sewage facilities planning module, which has been, submitted to the township for.
So really, the only way you could do this was to create this flag lot in the back. That, it kind of looks like a flag to me. Even though it's not an entrance, let me speak.
It's not an entrance.
It's not an entrance, so it's not a flag lot for accessing, but it looks like a flag in order to not need any zoning relief for, say, their size and/or frontage.
Total square, no, frontage, okay.
It's,
Square
Frontage,
footage, total
no, but
square
look,
footage.
and off of this one,
Yeah.
they would need a variance for the
Yes,
75
yes,
foot.
yes.
And by adding this little piece that this future homeowner never use. And I get you're trying to make it fit that size.
Who's going to maintain that little spot of grass? Is that guy?
well, it's the 13-foot wide strip, and that
Yeah,
would be
what do you do with
that would be
13-foot strip?
responsibility of Lot 2 to maintain their property. The plan was put together to comply with the zoning ordinance. We didn't want to have to go for a zoning variance, which, we would not necessarily be entitled to for, smaller lot size. So we had to take off, this portion here, so to speak, then the lot wouldn't comply with zoning. And
Yeah, we understand that, but the thing is, you're kind of getting around the spirit of the law, you know what I mean? The whole point of the zoning is, and you having to go for a variance is because the corner lot is not big enough to build a house. Because you bought a property, that had one house on it, okay, and then the person was completely innocent and happened to be a strip that allowed it to get to 7,500 by luck. This person was maintaining a piece or claimed they owned it, so he left it off the subdivision, or left it off the first house. He put that house all the way to the left. So when you visually go out there and look, it looks like the corner has room, because the house on Virginia is pushed to the other side of the lot, too.
Right, there's a existing house right next door on Virginia, correct?
Yeah, and it seems to be on the right side of that lot. So it looks like that corner has a lot of square footage that it doesn't really own.
So let me ask you a question. When you bought this property, did you have the property surveyed and have the pins put in?
No,
So-
sorry, go ahead.
So you didn't have it surveyed, you didn't know where all the marks were, what the size of the property was, where the pins were for everything. You had no idea that this just seems to me, and I've been here for a long time, this was set up this way so you could build another house on this kind of road. It's exactly what it is. I've seen it before many times. So saying that the other guy didn't know where the pins were and this, that, it would have been your job to have the survey, and it would have been yours to have the lot line, all your monuments put in to where the lot lines were and so forth. So for me, you made the first house, you got it done knowing that it would be a second. Now you're coming in there with a 13-foot lot,
Well,
13-foot lot.
you're assuming and you're accusing
I'm
that
not
I didn't do
assuming,
it.
I'm
Well, you're assuming it based upon previous experiences. At the end of the day, when I purchased this property, I wasn't going to spend money on a survey land on a property I own yet. I was provided what I was by this previous seller, who was also in front of you guys, who was trying to do a similar situation years prior, and he was shot down because he was trying to put a 3,000 square foot footprint on the back with a 1,000 square foot footprint on the front. He kept getting shot down. So when
But you didn't have it surveyed. You bought the property, you didn't have it surveyed, you didn't have the monuments put in and know where everything was. Because you didn't do that, now you're coming in and saying, hey, I didn't do that.
I'm not coming in and assuming that. What I did was I had the property surveyed, we put in plans to build the first house. When I put plans to put the first house, I said to Larry, is there any room there? And then when he did the pins, I said, hey, there's a pin here that looks like to be 10 to 13 feet, 15 feet onto this guy's other property. Is this correct? And he said, yes, based off of our.
You also, it doesn't matter because you did what you did, but on Vine Avenue, you also happen to put that house to the left of that lot.
Well, the existing drive was over there, and it
Okay,
made sense to
so
do that.
you had 75 feet frontage, even taking the 13 feet, and you put it to the left of the 75 feet.
Well, the house that I built.
You didn't center that house.
Well, if I did, it would have been close to that property line that I thought I had with the fence line. So we moved it over so we had that enough room because my house is long, it's 51 feet long. So it's meant for a narrow lot, and for me to change the design of the house.
Why don't you just move it to the center? Why don't you move it to the right?
Because it would have been too close to that property line.
It would have been over here in this corner. It wouldn't-
Wait, no, hold on, you're contradicting yourself, at least in my brain.
Okay.
So you said that when you went to do all the permitting, you had it surveyed. At that point, you would have had your house and shown up, correct?
My house plans I've used in the past when I built a house in Bristol Township.
Okay, so that's Bristol Township, this is Bensalem
No,
Township.
yeah, but I utilized these house plans in the past.
And that's perfectly fine, but my question again is, when you had that survey,
Correct.
and you had that house, and I'm not talking about the house and the 51 feet or whatever, when you had it surveyed and you knew you were using that house, you could easily then move that house more in the center of the full L-shaped property.
It has,
You have the ability to do that.
The one on my avenue, right, has a building envelope that you can see, that you could have built that house within, right? There's a building envelope there. You can see it on the screen, right?
This right here, right?
Yeah, there's a building envelope there.
Right. Mhm.
He put it to the left of the building envelope, the
Correct.
left side of the building envelope.
Right.
In order to keep it away from the corner, so he could try to get a house on the corner. And then when he couldn't get 7,500 square feet, he said, well, I'll just do 75 from this lot. I already put the house to the left, this way this yard will look decent, and then I'll include this strip, enough strip in order to get 7,500 square feet.
Well, that line, as I said, this one here, is strictly put there because the 75 feet, this lot is 75 foot wide.
What's the total square footage of the new property?
The whole property's about,
Lot 2.
Lot 2 is 7,554 square feet.
Okay, so you're allowed to have 7,500.
Right.
And just by coincidence, you're at 7,554.
That's exactly what it worked out
Just
to
by
be.
coincidence, but he's a lucky guy. I should buy a lottery ticket.
Well,
But-
I'm not saying,
But I mean,
no, it's this exactly, it did work out exactly. If I
It
would have.
did. It worked out perfect.
If I had 75 foot of frontage here and I did a
right, so,
subdivision.
yeah, if you do
and
75,
and I
if you
wind
do
up.
75 foot
Yeah,
of frontage,
But say, if I would have told him that, after you put this line here, and you wind up with 7,400 square feet, I'd say you can't do it because you need a variance.
right.
But in this case.
So to get around the variance, you say, let's keep this slot
Well,
on there.
it's not get around anything, it's just the way it is.
I mean, you may,
No, I'm serious.
it
It's
may
a
work, I don't
compliant
know,
plan.
but that's what you did. The spirit of the zoning, you got around.
That's not usable.
The
I don't
spirit.
understand how
I
that's
don't
usable property for
understand
any
why you-
owner. That 13-foot square thing. They couldn't even probably put a shed on it because of having setbacks.
Why? Because, why do you think to have 7,500 square feet? Because we want the person to buy that house to have at least 7,500 square feet to use, okay? Not to mow 13 feet along the back of someone else's property that he's never going to use.
And not be able to put a shed on it.
You can't put anything on it. It's just a wasted space. You probably just let the guy mow it that thinks he owns it now.
So they can't put a deck on, they can't put a shed in. The side yard on Pine Avenue, maybe they can do a pool, but there's still, I mean.
Well, he can put a deck maybe 10 feet.
Where, on that side?
Maybe.
Maybe, but it's gonna be
Yeah.
variances. Like.
No, we don't need any variances.
Well, he's
for
allowed
that.
to be 9 foot, so he claims he
Yeah.
gets it. Not that big.
Yeah.
It's up, okay. And
Well, like I
what
said,
about
we're here for,
what about
this-
curbs and sidewalks?
all right, well, that was, discussion. We were going to pay a fee in lieu of the curbs and sidewalks because the topography of this property is extremely flat in here. The whole frontage is exactly almost the same elevation. There's no pitch along the road. So if we were to install curb here, then it would be, it would create a puddle. The water would not have any place to drain. We don't have any inlets at the intersection that we can drain to. So we're requesting just to pay a fee in lieu of the curb and sidewalk.
But that's not all you're asking for. You're asking for not to have to show any of the existing features within 200 feet of the property. Why is that?
Well, that's just a topographics issue because we prepared the plan. We could provide that information with just like an aerial image. That's how we would typically ask for that. But I'd ask for the,
They could do it.
we'd ask for the waiver for the 200-foot, showing all the topographic features within 200 feet of the property.
Now,
I think that's a fairly standard.
Phil, could you put a
waiver.
sidewalk without a curb or no? Or is it still
We would
flat?
have a sidewalk without a curb because it could be a hazard for cars, if a car drives along, they can throw it from the house off the curb instead they can throw it on the side.
Okay. The car's going, okay.
I mean, that was for.
Yeah, my concern is it's 2 blocks off of the produce store, you know, on Virginia, so people might want to walk to produce stores.
There is curbing on the backside of the auto zone and sidewalks all along there.
Yeah, the
And
auto
it's
zone
funny
right
you
across,
mention
this
the
is
other
the auto zone property here, yeah.
It's just funny you mentioned the other person who attempted to put two houses on here, and you conveniently figured out a way. I just thought of that as I'm looking at, the house that was there was a very nice little cape.
It wasn't nice at all. It was
Well, the picture I'm looking at
bank-owned
does,
from 2007. It was in complete disarray. The roof was
Okay, maybe this-
falling in.
maybe this is an old picture, but,
Was not by any means. It sat vacant for
but you
years.
admit that the other owner that you bought it from tried to do two houses, and council, zoning, somebody turned them down, and now you magically found a way. So it's, you know what, I'm sorry. I shouldn't say I'm sorry, because I'm not sorry. I'm frustrated that we continually have people that do this type of thing, and we can't figure out.
I apologize. You feel like I tried to take advantage.
But you
By
do
any
have, you really have.
means. Okay, well, I apologize if you feel that way. I didn't present myself by any means that way. I grew up in this area. I'm a graduate of Bucks County Technical High School in '04. I raised 3 kids, like a 14-year-old.
Well, no one said you're a bad person.
Honestly-
I'm trying to survive and live
I
life
And
as well.
I get that, but we're trying to,
I'm also trying to provide, I mean, from what was there, it's what is there now. I mean, it's 150% change. And if I'm able to provide another home for another family to get raised in Bensalem District, I mean, who wouldn't want
Are
that in the
you-
area?
that doesn't matter.
Are you going to advise the new owner on that corner that there's limitations to how much they can build in the back of their house?
Of course, yeah, because I have to provide them the details of that pit and that area and how they can
And
maintenance
they won't be
that.
able to fence in the yard, well, unless they have access to that strip, so someone can square off a fence. No one can fence that strip in, right?
Well, technically, go ahead.
There's already I think there's already a fence there.
Yeah, that
now.
owner of that property has that fence off currently.
You're strict.
That strip, yeah.
It's on his property, the existing fence.
What?
Okay, Ken,
So it's to be
Didn't you just-
removed. I mean,
You said that the other owner was maintaining this strip, so where's the fence?
it's not really, it's not a strip. The strip doesn't exist yet. The strip
Right,
doesn't exist
so-
until the plan's approved.
So where's the fence on the property
If you
line?
look on
that
the
you just-
existing features, yeah, I believe it's on there.
This
I'm
is
curious.
loading that.
Yeah, I know, it's not, I don't know why it's
I
not.
can show.
Yeah, just point it out if you don't mind with the pointer, like, on the screen? or-
So, I'll show
Is
you
this
here.
the fence?
The fence is actually almost the property line.
This is the fence.
Almost, yeah, it's roughly in that. I'd have to get a tape to measure that out, but that fence line, that pin is in here, is here, that fence line's here, it goes like that.
Okay,
They don't have a fence down this side, but they have a fence across this back here.
okay.
Yep.
Google was giving me too much.
They're using- so
I
That's
do.
why we realized this was part of that.
Right, understood.
So we
So they
moved it
need,
out.
now they're gonna have to move that fence, if they want fence, they're gonna have to move it, so
Yeah,
the property line
Because of
is.
the way the fence is. was built.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, thank you. Phil, as an engineer, do they meet all the requirements for having a buildable lot on that corner? They do. They do. Okay, so the only variance they would need is the curb and sidewalks.
Sidewalks and the existing features.
And it's just a matter of whether they want to spend money to provide the existing features, right? That just shows what already exists around the property, right?
But it's something that we do with regard to that.
We routinely waive, right? Yeah. Okay. I mean, I don't like the shape of it, but I don't know, I mean, it's up to you whether if it fits. The house does look nice that you put up, and there's a nice house.
And I was looking at the
on-
house. So I was looking at the house down the corner.
There is a nice house on Virginia between the produce place and that.
Yeah, that's a beautiful house.
Beautiful
Oh,
house.
yeah.
And your house is pretty nice, a pretty good size. What type of house were you planning on putting on the corner?
I was going to do the same build on that corner
51
there.
feet?
The same build, yeah.
51 feet.
Yeah.
It's the same house that he just built is what's proposed for the second lot.
So 51-foot long house.
Deep, yeah.
Long feet, whatever.
Does that fit within the
Semantics.
building?
Yeah.
Thing?
Here's the house shown right here.
How much square footage?
With the finished basement, it's roughly 3,000.
So, like, you said you want somebody to be able to afford a house. I mean, what's the other house you're planning on selling it for?
I have to ask my wife, she's the realtor, she dictates the pricing. She
So
does get
probably like in
involved
the
in
600s.
my-
Yeah,
I mean,
so-
that's the going rate
so-
in the area. I mean, that guy built,
That's okay, that's up to,
I know. It's just, you know, everybody says affordable housing, and nobody builds affordable housing.
yep. Okay, do we have anybody that's here that would like to speak for or against the property, the zoning change or the subdivision? Is anybody here that would like to speak against it? No? No. Okay, I'm going to take a 5-minute break, okay? And then we'll come back and then if we have any questions, and then we'll try to make a motion, okay?
Yep, sure.
police, we honored the police tonight, and we had another thing also. And we had an executive session before this. Okay, is there any other comments, or are there any other questions from council, first of all, for the engineer or the owner? Any questions? If not, you want to make a comment?
Yeah, I have a comment. I don't like it. You are coming from the background of construction, so how it all happens, I'm not very comfortable with, but I understand that it's a way you can kind of get what you want. And it is what it is. I can't.
Okay.
I'm not going to deny a property owner something that's within, I feel, right,
Yeah, it's.
even though I don't like it.
Right. And maybe we'll have to look at that and see in the future, maybe we can make it where it's not their right, even if it is their right, but whatever, you know.
Conforming shape.
Yeah, well, I don't know, you can make ordinances with shapes, but we'll have to see if something else can be done. But, okay, so is there any other questions, anybody, or any other comments from council?
I'd say I applaud you for trying to make a living for your family, but I'm also trying to do the right thing for my township. I dance to our residents, so, but that's my only comment.
Okay. All right, so does anybody want to make a motion for or against the consideration of a minor subdivision for creation, construction, and design?
Make a motion to approve for applicant Creative Construction and Design, Inc., location 2861 Avenue, parcel number 020398086, as we discussed this evening and as presented.
Okay, is that okay? Anything else? Okay. Okay, so we have a motion. Is there a second? I'll second the motion. Okay, second motion. All in favor of approving, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, reluctantly. I do think he has a legal lot, unfortunately. But anybody against?
No.
Against?
My heart says against. I'm just so tired of this in our township with people coming from, and it's not you personally. This is consistently, it's consistently, we have this, and I'm frustrated. And I'm frustrated in the sense that I do truly feel you knew going into this what you were doing, because you said in the beginning that the prior owner who was trying to put 2 houses on there.
Okay.
So the same thing, I'm not done.
You asked for comments
I'm
already.
not done.
though.
I
We
know,
asked for comments.
I
You
know,
should've
I'm just
said
saying
that.
my no. I'm saying my, but I'm voting. My heart says no, but I know legally I have no right to say no. That you have a right to do that. So I am a very reluctant yes. And
Yes,
I
okay.
hope that in the future, if you come back to Bensalem to build again, that you do the right thing for our town.
Okay, so we have 3 yeses and 1 no, okay? So you're approved, all right? Congratulations, good luck, okay? All right, so we'll go 3-1, right? Okay? Okay.
You forgot the waivers. You forgot the waivers.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Can we
Right.
go back?
I'm sorry,
Do we
we
have
gotta go
to
back.
add-
Yeah, we gotta go
Can we-
back, yeah.
Sorry, gotta amend.
I know.
We
said yes
got information
At the
late
last minute.
regarding a request for waivers, and we did discuss this a little bit regarding the curbing and sidewalks. There would be a fee in lieu of.
She has to adjust.
So I need to amend my motion
Okay,
to approve as presented, but also to include the fee in lieu of curb and sidewalks as requested for waiver, and the not to be required to show all existing features within 200 feet of the property, which we also discussed.
okay, thank you. Okay, and then I'll amend my second to include the waivers that were just granted, okay? So, and all in favor? Aye. Aye. Any against? No. Okay, so you still pass 3-1, okay?
Okay, well, thank you very
All right,
much.
thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Okay. Okay, and Bill, we want to do that now for the Sewage Facilities Act, right? Okay, as on any subdivision, you have to get approval from the Pennsylvania Sewage Facilities Act. Okay, so 7A is consideration of a resolution for Act 537, Pennsylvania Sewage Facilities Act, provision for new land development of a parcel of land identified as 2866 Wine Avenue. So they'll have to get permission to have sewer connections at the property. Okay, that's correct, right? Okay, so all in favor of granting this? Oh, sorry, yeah. Is there a motion that we approve the resolution for Act 537 as presented?
Make a motion to approve consideration for Resolution Act Number 537, plan revision for new development parcel land identified at 2866 Wine Avenue.
Okay, and is there a second?
I guess I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Any against? No. Okay, we agree one again. Thank you. All right, after 7A is 8. Consideration and signing of developers agreements for Everstory Partners Resurrection Cemetery, 5201 Unionville Road, the mausoleum. Who has this? Do you have this? Who's presenting this?
Jim, I could, or Chairman Pazzo,
Yeah.
Mr. Pazzo bailed me out last night. This is for the mausoleum that was installed.
Right, we had approved this already, so this is just the developers agreement.
It was approved and now the developer's agreement.
Right, right. And the neighbors were notified, or they're not existed, right?
The neighbors.
Okay.
I don't think they can answer, Joe.
Okay. All right. All right, so consideration signing development agreement for, this is for the mausoleum that we approved at Resurrection Cemetery already. Okay, so any questions from council about this? Everybody understands? Okay, is there a motion that we approve this developers agreement?
I'll make the motion to approve this developers agreement.
Okay, is there a
This one I
second?
can approve.
Second.
Second, Mr. Flaherty. Okay,
Yes,
all in
Flaherty.
favor? Aye. Any against? Okay, we're good. Okay, good job. Okay. Okay.
Is that what you guys are waiting for? A and B Land Development Improvement Agreement and Stormwater Best Management.
Yeah, that's in there. That's included, yep.
That's part of it, yes. Thank you.
Yep.
Sorry you had to wait so long.
Okay, number 9 on the agenda, consideration of the escrow release for Federation Housing, release number 6 for 4695 Somerton Road. Phil, I think this is you, right?
Usually Quentin. Quentin's not here.
Yeah. Phil, do you have this, or is Quentin? Okay.
We have an escrow release, it's the 6-1 for Federation Housing on Summer Road. It's a release we're recommending for $52,135. The amount remaining will be $916,716.19. Construction is going smoothly.
Okay, so we're only releasing 52,000, we still have 916,000, and this is close to being done, right? Right, wrapped up, right? Okay, good, we still have a lot of money involved here, too. Okay, so is there a motion to approve the escrow release for 52,135 as presented?
Sure, I'll do this one too. This one's an easy one.
Audit by the end.
Audit. So I put a motion in to approve the escrow release for Federation Housing at 4695 Somerton Road in the amount of $52,135 to be audited by the Finance Department.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Ms.
Sorry.
Benitez. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, any against? Okay, so that's good, okay? All right, number 10 on the agenda is public comment. Do we have anybody that wants to come up for public comment?
Hello, how are you? My name is Anthony Zampieri. I was just here for public comment. I just had a nice conversation in the back with Ken, and we'll be setting up a meeting to help resolve some of the issues we're having.
Okay, are you a resident of the township?
Yes, I am a
Can you
resident.
say your name again?
Anthony Zampieri.
Okay, where do you live?
4348 Grove Avenue. So
Okay.
you've definitely seen me before for other
Like
things
somebody else, like-
going on our street.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
yes, I've been in here several times with the industrial property at the end of the street and whatnot. So it's a very interesting street and it has its own issues, but I'm not here for any of them tonight. I just spoke to Ken in the back regarding our never-ending cycle of permits that we're just trying to get closed out and taken care of. So we'll be setting up a meeting and discussing them.
Okay, are they permits for yourself?
Yes, for my own property.
Okay.
Stuff has been open. It's been a 5-year ordeal. We bought the house in May 1st, 2020. So we'll be there 5 years this year. And basically, all we're trying to do is just do the right thing, close out the permits. There's a couple non-conforming issues that have been there, and we just want to be done with it. We like the community. We like to stay here. We have a 8-year-old with special needs. My wife is very active with coaching. She's a Bensalem wrestling coach for the youth team.
I know I've seen the name.
So, yep, that's my wife. They call her Coach Mom. So we're also part of the Bensalem Ramblers, where we've seen many of you before.
Yeah.
And we really like to stay in the community, but, with the current situation with permits, we just want to resolve them, be done with it, be able to stay, because at one point, it gets so stressful where you're like, I just want to sell my home. I just want to get out. I can't do it anymore, because it's just too overwhelming.
Can you give your address again? I'm sorry.
4348 Grove Avenue?
4348 Grove Avenue?
Yes.
Okay, we appreciate you coming out, and fortunately, we had Ken Farrell, who's
Yes.
director,
We had a
sitting out in the
conversation.
crowd, so you were able to talk to him, and you're going to set up a meeting and try to get this
We're going to call
resolved.
tomorrow. We're going to try to resolve
And
everything.
we'll follow up with Ken and see how you're making out, okay?
Yes. So that would be great.
Appreciate you coming out.
Thank you for the time.
Thank you.
Have a great night, everyone.
Yep. Okay, is there anybody else that would like to come up for public comment? I don't see anybody else. So anybody else will close public comment. Okay, so do we have any comments from our front people here? Phil, do you have anything you'd like to share?
No, sir.
Debbie, do you have anything that particularly bothers you or anything? You okay? Okay. Our attorney who did a decent job for the first night here without Mr. Pizzo, but yeah. Do you have anything to add?
Brought it home. I have nothing further for council tonight.
Okay. We make a lot of mistakes, so you got to be correcting us once in a while, you know? Okay. But Mayor, would you like to share anything?
Yeah, I just put some things on the page. On May 19th is the police memorial.
Yeah.
Here every year. So everyone's invited to that. We remember our police officers, Officer Armstrong and Officer Yezi on that day. So everybody's invited. There's a lot of construction going on around Rockville Road, closing it, opening. So go on PennDOT's website. They keep you up to date on that. We try to keep up to date. Every day they change it, weather conditions, and there's a lot going on there. But soon to be done up there on Route 1 and all that construction. I know our veterans, this is something new we're doing this year, and it's on the 23rd of May. 23rd of May, we're having in honor of our veterans, it's an unofficial kickoff for the season. Next week starts the concert, but this is free. It's a concert and fireworks afterwards on the 23rd. So you all come out. The concert's an hour, and then after that there'll be some fireworks. So that's new. The times of that are exactly 8 until 9, and then the fireworks. The concert's 8 till 9.
Do we know who's playing, or you know how to?
I do.
Somebody from
the heck is it called?
the Cars?
Decades for the Ages or something?
It's called Decades. Decades is the name of the band.
Oh, okay.
And
Do they do every decade?
but it's free.
Beautiful.
It's free.
Great.
Free. So come out.
Certainly
Please.
priced well.
And then obviously the concert kicks off on the 28th. That's the Michael Jackson experience. So and that opens at 5:30. So that every week after that'll be a concert. And then we've got stuff we'll keep you up to date on our electronic recycling, which we decided to do, and that's in October, and it's red, again, that's October. We'll keep you up to date on the dates, but these are things that are coming up that's important to the community. Thank you.
Thanks for mentioning the police memorial. I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
that's very important.
Okay, Ms. Champion, would you like to add anything?
It's spring. April showers bring May flowers, right?
That's right.
The winds are crazy. Wishing everybody a fruitful getting their gardening done in the next few weeks. And spring sports are in full force. Baseball, softball, lacrosse, soccer. I can't even remember. Track and field. There's so much. So enjoy, kids. Good luck to everybody. Hope you have great seasons. And before you know it, the kids will be out of school in the next month or two. So they're out there riding their bikes and stuff. They are now. And I just want to commend one quick thing, though. I was on my way here tonight, and there was a gentleman riding his bike, and he was in the lane, and he stopped at the red light. So hopefully we have more people that mimic that. So thank you, and have a good night.
Okay, Ms. Benitez? over here.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Congratulations, Officer Christian Martinka, on your recognition tonight. Thanks for all that you do. Thank you to your family. And thanks to all of you guys, love our police department. They're number one in my heart. And also, since our last meeting, Bensalem PD was recognized for a third time for their Kalea recognition. So congratulations on that. I mean, you lead with heart, you lead with integrity every day. Congratulations. It's a big deal. It's a great accomplishment. So great representation there. B3T did a great job this past weekend with the drug take back. I don't know if any of you got to go, but we collected 10 boxes. I was working, so I couldn't volunteer, but my team with B3T did a great job. Thank you for all of that. But know that we do also have a permanent drop box at our police station. Congratulations to Nick Altmaier and Tom McCool on their promotions with the fire department. Nick became battalion chief and Tom became lieutenant. They're two great, wonderful people that serve our community in many different ways, and I'm very proud to call them friends. Congratulations on your promotion. And then go Phillies, because Debbie forgot her go Phillies.
Thank you, thank you. I went to Egan with Tom McCool's father.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. I know, kid up there. Mr. Polari, do you have anything? I had a new girl start at the office. She said, "You used to hang around my grandparents." Like, oh, okay, Jesus. I appreciate that. Thank you. But,
If it makes you feel any better, my new radio station is Oldies 98.
Good. I did see, you'll have to look the date. I did see the Cars tribute band is playing this year. They're one of my favorite bands from the 80s, Joe. The Cars, right? They were very good. They had one album, that was it. They disappeared. But they'll play it. It'll be good. I appreciate everybody's time, and I did want to reiterate the police memorial. We have two officers, Officer Yezi and Officer Armstrong, that were killed in the line of duty. Their family members do show up every year, year after year, even though it's been decades, to honor them. So you're certainly welcome to come and honor them. And it also honors our current police force and shows your support for the police. We also have the signs that are available now, right? Yeah, they have the signs, support our, I support Bensalem Police, I support our police. Those signs are available. We've had them out before. People have them up. They're getting a little wintered looking. If you want to restore your sign and put it out in front of your house that you support Bensalem Police.
They can pick up in the lobby here.
Right.
Or down at the police station.
Yeah, either at the police station or the lobby, okay? And
I
that's
think
it.
Director McVeigh made a really good point,
there anything
actually.
else? Is there anything else?
Yes, no, I want to make this point because he mentioned on their show, yes, I watch, I tune in from time to time, all right? He said how, like, when we're displaying those signs, it's showing that we're united in our community around our police department, and it is much a deterrent, you know? As much as like, we're showing our love, it's showing the bad guys that we back our police department.
Right.
So keep that in mind. I really liked that he mentioned that.
They
I
might
never
not-
really thought of it that way.
I think they might actually think you're a police officer too, and they'll stay away from your house, you know? But anyway, all right, anything else? Miss Deb, you have anything else to say? I heard some comments over there. You okay? Okay. All right. With that, I'll adjourn. Thank you. Good night.